So as promised, I am going to make a very simple and quick guide to the rotation of Astrologian 4.5.0. Alright, so always, in my opinion, when you're doing 8-man content, start off with a Lady or Lord of the Crowns, because you don't have to be in combat for that buff, so you can throw it prior to combat starting. Once combat does start, you will have to place yourself in combat, which means you either need to heal someone who's in combat, usually the tank, or you need to throw combust onto the boss. And the reason that you need to do that is because if you're not in combat, then you don't get credit for your divination alignment. 3 unique stellar symbols for divination. Alright, this is your typical dungeon. The first thing you want to do is be in Nocturnal Sect, throw a Expected Benefic onto your tank, then switch over to Diurnal Sect. Always heal big pulls in Diurnal Sect. Mathematically it has a higher healing potency, and you'll end up using less mana. Alright, so typically I like to start a pull with Earthly Star, but the tank stopped. And then all of a sudden went to the next group of mobs, which is fine. This is a random queue. But typically I'll start with Earthly Star, and then you don't have to worry about it because it'll eventually burst and heal your tank for quite a bit. Anyway, you have a slew of healing up your sleeve right now. Use all your really big heals up front to keep the tank alive and robust. In this particular pull, the tank's not taking that much damage, as I've seen in other double pulls or sometimes triple pulls. I will say that for Astrologian, doing big pulls is definitely more challenging now. They did make the tanks a little bit squishier, and Astrologian's struggling to keep up with the other 2 healers in regards to healing. But use your off the global cooldown stuff, in addition to always having your Expected Benefic, your regen on your tank. You can use your Diurnal Intersection to throw a little bit of a shield on for off global cooldown. In addition, use Light Speed to get those big heals up front. Light Speed with Benefic 2, it cuts your mana cost in half. And then after you finish using Light Speed, use Lucid Dreaming to keep your mana sustainable. And if you get in trouble, if you've used all of your OGCDs, your off global cooldowns, then that's when you just start spamming Benefic 2. Don't forget about Horoscope, which I mentioned in the other video. You use a Horoscope prior to a Helios, and then you use it again afterwards, and it's going to greatly boost your Helios. Another thing you can do is early in the pull use your Neutral Sect. Don't be afraid to use that. You can stack that along with your other heal over times and your other shields. It all stacks, fortunately. So your Neutral Sect is going to increase your healing potency, in addition to giving you both nocturnal and diurnal benefits. So this one we did Earthly Star again, but the tank for whatever reason pulled it out of Earthly Star, so he didn't get healed by it. But all this time you're wanting to maintain your buffs, which I talked about in the other video more. Now the first thing that's important is keeping your party alive above all. Next is throwing your buffs, and you're mainly trying to get divination. And in order to do that, you need 3 unique stellar symbols: a sun, a moon, and a star. Ultimately, in a lot of these regular duties like this, I don't really... I mean, most of the time I'll get it right, but if the RNG is not in your favor, take your stellar alignment instead of your ranged or melee buff. And what I mean by that is on the side of the card, it'll either have a circle for ranged or a plus sign for melee. That's a pretty simple way to remember it. And then on the top part, it'll have the sun, moon, or star. As far as divination, yeah, you definitely want to use that as often as possible in these dungeons. You can use it about every 3 minutes. and then in between divination on the cooldown, you want to have your next divination ready while the actual button is cooling down. But yeah, basic stuff still. When you get in trouble, just spam Benefic 2 and you'll be alright.